What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, for being subscribed. If you are, if you aren't, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, while you're at it, hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place. So let's get into this podversation / H&M drama. All right, guys, I wanted to talk about this story because, as you know, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, so much has been coming out about them almost every day. We know that recently they were dropped by Spotify. Netflix claims, so far so good, but we're keeping our eye on things and we're making more concrete demands as to the terms of this $100 million deal that we have signed them for. So this story comes from In Touch, and I'm going to just share some stuff from this article because Meghan and Harry, as you know, for the most part, when it comes to outlets coming out and saying anything about them, there almost always has to be a response. And even further, for some, the response is going to be a lawsuit. They can dish it because they've come out here, they've said all of the things that they have said. They did a sit-down interview with Oprah Winfrey. You had Gayle King out here windmilling for Meghan Markle and any chance that she got. You had Harry writing this book called Spare, talking about his family. And then you had the Netflix docuseries, Harry and Meghan, Meghan and Harry. I don't know whose name was first. Who cares? But they get out here and they're able to say whatever they want to say. But almost always when someone comes out and says something about them that they don't see as favorable, there has to be a response. What if the family came out and wrote about them? What if the family came out and wrote a book about Harry? What if the family came out and did interviews talking about Meghan and how difficult she was or how Harry changed or whatever? What if the family turned around and said something about them? They can dish it, but they can't take it. And this is why I wanted to talk about this. So the In Touch article says Bill Simmons didn't hold back. It says, I wish I had been involved in the Meghan and Harry leave Spotify negotiation. The sports writer and Spotify executive railed on his podcast on June 16th following the announcement that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle had mutually agreed to part ways, quote unquote, with the streaming platform 3 years after signing a $20 million deal. Well, we know that they did not mutually agree to part ways. That was a spin that Harry and Meghan put out there because they couldn't just take the news of them being dropped or being fired. So once the news came out that they were fired, then they came out in response to say that they have mutually agreed to part ways. It's almost like that old saying when someone is fired from a job and the person that got fired, they're so angry, they'll respond and say, you can't fire me because I quit. It's the ego. When honestly, you should just take the L, learn from it. And for us little people who would get fired from a job, we just take that versus responding and saying, you can't fire me because I quit. Because if you get fired, if you don't know this, you most of the time, not all of the time, most of the time, you qualify or you can seek to see if you qualify for unemployment benefits versus if you just quit, you absolutely already have eliminated yourself from being qualified for unemployment benefits. I'm just saying I'm an employer because I know. But anyway, to continue with the article, quote, the effing grifters, that's the podcast we should have launched with them, Bill said. Harsh words, but he's not the only one who's super critical of the former senior royals. Practically everyone in Hollywood is talking about how Harry and Meghan's empire is crumbling, a source tells In Touch. Stars including Kelly Osbourne, Bethany Frankel, and Howard Stern have publicly slammed the couple amid speculation that their $100 million Netflix partnership is in jeopardy too. They were basically fired by Spotify, which is embarrassing, but Harry and Meghan are now fighting back by telling their side of the story, the insider explains. Yes, they've made mistakes, but they have big plans for their next endeavor. They're the first to admit they struggled to find their footing in the wake of Megxit. Harry has opened up about how his father, King Charles III, cut him off financially and wouldn't take his calls, the source says. Scrambling to support themselves, the Sussexes quickly signed with Netflix in September 2020, then inked the Spotify deal 4 months later. Now, I'm going to pause it right there. It's funny to, hear that they're saying King Charles cut him off financially. You left. You can't just do what you want to do in this life and then expect people to just take care of you the way that things were being taken care of when you were following the rules, so to speak. You chose to shuffle the deck. You chose to shake the table. And then you want these people to just financially support you and your wife because you chose to leave as working royals and that was your choice. No one forced you out. Get out of here. All right, to continue. We hadn't thought about it entering the streaming business, Harry, 38, admitted of the surprise move. I just needed enough money to pay for security to keep my family safe. So again, these things were afterthoughts, not forethoughts. You guys should have made a plan before you left. You didn't make a plan and now it's your dad's fault because he cut you off financially. You should be grateful that you got what you got. When you got here, you got to stay in Tyler Perry's mansion, probably use his jet. And then honestly, you lucked up by Netflix signing you to this deal because you didn't show any real proof of talent or experience to say that you earned the opportunity to make this type of money. So you lucked up. Anyway, to continue, but 3 years later, sources argue the pair didn't do enough to earn their hefty paycheck at Spotify. Their company, Archwell Audio, produced just 12 episodes of Archetypes. Business Insider suggests they may not get the full $20 million payout. Meghan, 41, has also been accused of faking parts of the podcast, passing off interviews her producers conducted as her own. One journalist exposed her lies by pointing out that she was interviewed by someone else, even though the episode was edited to make it sound like Meghan was reacting to her. Now, I don't know if that's true because I did see that story. I did not come out here and speak about it because there were some people that were refuting it to say, no, that's not true. But I just didn't really feel like talking about it. But that did come out. All right, the story continues. An insider adds that Spotify execs were forced to be much more hands-on than expected, and they still didn't get much out of the partnership. Harry and Meghan have little to show for the Netflix collaboration as well. Aside from the explosive Harry and Meghan documentary and a series of the Invictus Games that still doesn't have a release date, they've been all talk and no action. Meghan's passion project, animated children's show Pearl, even got canceled. Harry and Meghan clearly got in over their heads, the source says. Netflix may not renew their contract, they just didn't do the work. But Meghan bristles at the notion that they're just resting on their laurels. She's telling friends she prides herself on her work ethic and hates being labeled an opportunist, the insider reveals. She's always had irons in the fire and ideas brewing. Unfortunately, they have yet to come to fruition. Signing with Hollywood super agent Ari Emanuel in May was a step in the right direction, something she should have done earlier, the source notes. Meghan is talking about how Ari has a lot of big plans for her that will be shared soon. It's all about rebranding now. Meanwhile, Spotify's bill continues to slam Harry. What does he do? The executive asks, who is threatening to tell all about an allegedly damning Zoom call he once had with the prince to discuss podcast ideas. You sell documentaries and podcasts, but nobody cares what you have to say about anything unless you talk about the royal family and you just complain about them. Look, I'm going to pause right there. Agreed. I have been saying this. Dude, Bill, wherever the Zoom call is, release it. Let it go. Let us see it. Let us hear it. We're interested. I know I am. I don't know about you. But yeah, it's the truth. You can call him a hater all you want. I don't detect any lies there. All right. So to continue, experts expect the focus to be on Meghan, not Harry. She's looking to become a global celebrity influencer like her pal, Gwyneth Paltrow, the source says. Rumors swirl that Meghan had signed the luxe fashion house Dior, which counts Charlize Theron, Jennifer Lawrence, and Kristen Stewart as brand ambassadors. That was denied, but it didn't hurt that her name was out there in connection with a prestigious brand, the insider adds. A deal like that could be worth millions. And look, they've come out to deny it, but it could possibly happen. In the end, however, Harry and Meghan need the paycheck. Money is definitely becoming a problem again. The source emphasizes, noting that proceeds from Harry's blockbuster Tell All Spare helped keep them afloat for a while. They'll do whatever it takes to maintain their posh Montecito lifestyle. Harry even agreed to do a public therapy session in March, a 90-minute live stream event with trauma expert. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing about therapy because I do believe in it. I go to it. I have a husband who suffers with PTSD. He's a veteran. It's a real thing. But it's pissing me off because this is just a freaking grift. You know, people like us, regular folk, no one's paying us no one's giving us money to get therapy. I believe everyone, especially just living in this horrible world, should have access to healthcare, and definitely mental health care. That's why there's so many freaking issues out here in the world today. You know, I'm trying not to go off on a tangent, but that pisses me off because this was just a freaking grift opportunity to make money. I'll do a 90-minute therapy session and allow it to be filmed so people can see me getting therapy with a trauma expert. Trauma? What real trauma have you experienced? You know, and that's the part that pisses me off too. These two talk about their issues as if they don't know that there are people in war-torn countries across the world. There are people who are homeless. There are people who are going through so much. There are people who are being abused in a number of different ways. There are people who are in foster care. There's so many issues in this world. Don't tell me anything about trauma. You people know nothing about trauma. I don't care that somebody said something about what color is the baby's skin going to be. Who the F cares? You know, that's what I'm saying that pisses me off about these two. Trauma? Get the heck up out of here. Anyway, to continue, not only that, but Harry has also teased that he might write another tell-all. I thought you already told it all. What else could there really be unless you're going to just start spewing lies and making stuff up? Nothing is off the table, the source concludes. He and Meghan know their opportunities haven't gone as planned, but they've determined to stick it out and become a success no matter what. How about this? Maybe just go back to the UK, put your tail in between your legs, bow your heads down, kiss a little tail, and be taken care of, because that's really what you want. You just didn't want to do the work of being a quote-unquote working royal, and this is what Meghan wanted. You can't convince me that this isn't what she wanted. Since when were you friends with Gwyneth Paltrow, but now she's your pal? You know, you want to do what they're doing. You want to have the success that she has, that Charlize Theron has, that Kristen Stewart has, but you were not in their arena. You were not in their league before you got with Harry. You are an opportunist. So now they're allegedly coming out swinging because they're pissed off that Spotify released the news and they don't like how the news was released about how their deal came to an end. So, quote, Spotify was supposed to release a statement saying how great it was to work with Meghan, but they didn't, an insider told Us Weekly, adding that the audio streamers team had been pushing Harry and Meghan for more content over the last year. According to the source, Harry and Meghan weren't delivering on what Spotify needed before the deal came to an end just a few weeks ago. Other insiders close to the company who spoke with the Wall Street Journal said the Duke and Duchess allegedly did not meet the benchmark required to receive the full payout from the deal, having only produced Meghan's 12-episode series Archetypes. Last week, Spotify's head of podcast innovation and monetization, Bill Simmons, hopped in the chat and criticized the couple on his podcast, which I spoke about recently. So all of that being said, the couple is letting it all be quote unquote water under the bridge, especially since they reportedly have a ton of exciting things in the pipeline, allegedly. But another source who spoke with Us Weekly commented on the quote hurtful comments, saying, "It seems to be one assault after another these days, with people lining up to take cheap shots at Harry and Meghan. Quite frankly, both she and the prince are sick and tired of it." But how is it Spotify coming out and saying this information, which is true, taking a cheap shot? Again, they don't want anyone to say anything about them that they don't deem as positive or something that's uplifting or something that is going to, show them favorably. So even this article from Cosmo, where they even spoke about this person, this source that came out to Us Weekly saying that they're sick and tired of people taking cheap shots at them, they're even writing the article favorable to them, saying that, they have so many great things lined up and the future looks bright for them and yada, yada, yada. Because a lot of publications, even though Meghan and Harry, they are sick and tired of the quote unquote cheap shots, there are some outlets that are not just kissing her ass. There are a lot of publications like Marie Claire, like Cosmopolitan and stuff like that, that are speaking favorably about them because they're, I believe, wanting to be in good graces and have the favor of Meghan Markle at some point, because it's going to bring them more views if they do things positively and speak about what they see as positive about Meghan and Harry versus the things that honestly are true. No one's lying about their Spotify deal. So how is that taking a cheap shot at them? The fact that they think that the deal ending, it warranted Spotify coming out and making a statement saying how great it was to work with her. Like, you didn't make good on your end of the bargain. The guy who said that they were lazy grifters, effing lazy grifters at that, you pissed these people off. They did this deal. You only produced 12 episodes of your podcast, and allegedly you didn't even show up for some of them, and some of them the reactions were added later because you were too busy being Meghan and Harry to do actual work, So I just can't with these two. It is really amazing to me how they just feel that anything that is spoken about them that is not something that they are loving and that they approve of is taking a cheap shot. They can dish it, but they can't take it. They can come out here and say all of these things about William, Kate, his dad, working people in the palace, and just whoever they wanted to speak about, but these people can't say anything back about them. It's ridiculous. I just wanted to talk about that, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for being here, liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.